Leo was a 10-year-old boy and the only child of his parents. He always rode his bicycle to and from school since it was close to his house. Leo was a very intelligent, wise, smart, and sharp kid. He was always kind, helped others, and was an interesting child. One of Leo's gifts and abilities that made him stand out was his talent for drawing things exactly as they were. He even assisted teachers at times due to his excellence. However, Leo also attracted some jealous people because he was so outstanding. He was often bullied by three bigger boys named Marcus, Martins, and Moses because he was somewhat small. They bullied him on his way back home, in the classroom, and basically anywhere they had the opportunity to target the young boy. One certain Friday, after school closed, Leo went to the place where he parked his bicycle, only to discover that his tire had been punctured. Now, he had to walk his bicycle home. As he embarked on his journey, it began to rain heavily. He quickened his pace and didn't bother about his books because his school bag was waterproof. As he walked, he saw something very weird, a canvas on a small scanty tree. Strangely, the canvas didn't get wet. Leo was fascinated by its waterproofness, but it was more than that. He felt a strong magical pull as though the canvas was calling to him, urging him to take it. It felt like it was meant for him, and the feeling was so overwhelming that he couldn't resist. He reached out and took the canvas, trying to put it inside his bag, but it wouldn't fit, so he simply held it in his hand. When he got home, his parents gave him some hot tea and he took a hot shower. He told his mom and dad how his day had gone. Leo was very close to his parents and they were very close to him. His father once gave him an idea that made the bullies afraid of him for a while. Leo pranked Marcus, Martins, and Moses by gluing them to their seats for a whole day, after which they all ran away from him. However, Leo's mother did not support that method of handling bullies and instead reported the issues to the school following due process. That night, Leo decided to draw some things on the canvas he just got. As was his custom, he usually loved to draw things before he slept, and that night he decided to draw a little version of himself and went to bed. Then the next day, Leo noticed something unusual about the canvas. It seemed to have a life of its own. The little figure appeared on the canvas and interacted with him. Leo discovered that the little Leo he drew on the canvas had come alive. Leo then named the little figure Little Leo, and the fist bumped, forming a bond. Leo usually woke up early, so he had about an hour and 30 minutes before his dad would come to his door. Using the time he had, he jumped on his desk and began to draw all manner of things a 10-year-old boy could dream of. The first thing he drew was a Spider-Man toy. He didn't know how to make it come alive, but little Leo gave him a hint. Close the book and open it again, and voila, Spider-Man was in the room. Leo drew animals, clothes, shoes, jewelry, anything he could think of in the short time he had. When his father finally knocked, it was as if Santa had visited Leo. His father had questions, but Leo quickly diverted the topic and escaped. Every time when Leo went to school, he couldn't wait to go back home each day. One night, for some reason, Leo decided to draw a pistol. After drawing it, he opened the window and checked if it worked. He pulled the trigger and it actually shot a bullet. Leo then discovered the true power of the magical canvas. He quietly went to bed after his father asked, "What's that?" And he replied, "Nothing." One day, on his way to school, Leo saw a homeless man and felt compassionate but had no money to give him. He came up with an idea for next time. He placed a box of pizza and other goodies in the canvas, which duplicated them. He repeated the process, creating more food and giving it to those in need. As time went by, Leo became more familiar with his canvas and its wonders and different ways to make the canvas reproduce different results. He discovered how to draw things and make them bigger, duplicate items without having to draw them repeatedly, and much more magical things he could do with his canvas. One day, Leo took the canvas to school, and that same day, he was bullied by Marcus, Martins, and Moses, who rubbed their armpits on his head. Instead of reporting them, Leo was very angry. He took his canvas to the restroom and drew a massive, terrifying dog. The creature was 7 feet tall with the muscular build of a bear and the fierce regal appearance of a lion. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, and its sharp teeth and claws looked like they could tear through anything. Leo brought it to life with specific instructions, and the monstrous dog ran out of the room, chasing the bullies, tearing their clothes and disgracing them. The sight of the beast was so terrifying that Marcus, Martins, and Moses screamed and ran for their lives. However, when Leo came out, he discovered that a security camera had captured what had happened. The camera was at the door of the restroom to monitor who went in and out. Leo needed a way to delete the video footage or his secret would be exposed. He sent little Leo to do the job. Little Leo jumped on the keyboard with his feet and hit the mouse with his leg, but he got the job done smoothly and the video was deleted. Another day, Leo saw a classmate genuinely complaining about not having anything to eat. He felt for them and needed to do something. He went behind the classroom and drew some goodies and eatables. However, Moses was behind the window and saw Leo perform the little magic with his canvas. Moses told Marcus and Martins, and they decided they needed to find a way to get the canvas for themselves. They loved the magical effects the canvas provided and came up with a plan. Since Leo always carried his bag and canvas with him, they lied to him saying the principal wanted to ask him some questions about giving food to a classmate. Leo rushed to the principal's office, but the principal wasn't even in school that day. In the meantime, Marcus, Martins, and Moses stole Leo's canvas. When Leo returned, he searched for his canvas but couldn't find it. He felt very sad and regretted bringing it to school. However, little Leo was still inside his school bag and had seen everything that happened. When Leo got home and was crying on the floor, he remembered that little Leo was still in his bag. He opened the bag and little Leo told him everything. Together, they devised a plan to retrieve the canvas. All the little creations that Leo had created with the canvas assembled into one army with one mission and goal under the command of General Little Leo. On the other side, Marcus, Martins, and Moses, who were bad artists and didn't know how to draw anything, had created all manner of ugly, shapeless creatures and kept the canvas protected under the bed of Marcus, the lead bully. General Little Leo executed step 1 of their retrieval mission, which was to get into the bags of the bullies to locate where the canvas is. This was successful, and unknowingly, the bullies brought the soldiers back to their hideout. Step 2 was the retrieval mission. On the third day, they waited for the right hour when Marcus, Martins, and Moses wouldn't be around, and the canvas would be left to the little ugly creatures that they have kept under their bed. When everything was set, they went into motion. The monstrous creatures that the bullies had been drawing were so many, so General Little Leo devised a plan to distract them. Big Leo waited at the window with his bicycle to cycle them home once they were done. Little Leo drew attention to himself, and all the guards and ugly creatures chased him, leaving their duty post. The other soldiers, including Spider-Man and the rest, carried the canvas and flung it to Big Leo, who caught it. They all jumped into Leo's big bag. Mission successful. However, Little Leo was missing. He was being beaten by the minions he had distracted. They couldn't live without him, so Spider-Man went and fought, webbing Little Leo out successfully. But the delay made their timing imperfect. Marcus, Martins, and Moses returned and saw Leo escaping with the canvas, leading to a bicycle chase. The bullies were good at cycling, but so was Leo. They chased him through different routes and alleys but couldn't catch him. When they finally cornered him at a dead end, they got off their bikes and began to taunt him. Just when they thought it was over, the 7-foot-tall dog Leo had drawn, now a stray dog but still as terrifying as ever, and remembering the commands Leo gave him, jumped in, punctured the tires of the bullies' bikes and began chasing them. The bullies screamed and ran in terror, giving Leo the space to escape. When Leo got back home, he was very happy. Little Leo pretended to be upset and slapped Big Leo for nearly forgetting him. Leo awarded medals to everyone for their hard work. The story continued with more adventures as Leo grew into his teenage years and eventually adulthood. When Leo was 74, he became Santa Claus, gifting not only kids but also adults and those in need. He had a factory producing all manner of Christmas gifts, all thanks to his magical canvas. And that was how Leo became Black Santa Claus.